Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed M.G.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Russian operations on the 9th of December indicate synchronized attrition and maneuver intended to degrade Ukrainian mechanized strength, artillery survivability, and EW infrastructure. Major Ukrainian losses in the center and west sectors highlight mounting strain on Kyiv's reserves, forcing reliance on mixed formations and rapid redeployments. The destruction of Western-provided armored platforms and multiple ammunition depots points to increasing logistical vulnerability. Deep strikes against UAV production and energy infrastructure further reduce Ukraine's long-range strike capability. If current patterns persist, Ukraine may be compelled to consolidate defensive lines or abandon contested sectors to preserve remaining combat power.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, let's begin at the operational overview. What defined the character of Russian operations on December 9th?
December 9th marked another day of synchronized pressure across multiple sectors of the front, combining ground maneuver with deep strike components. Russian forces continued to degrade Ukraine's military capacity not only through direct engagements, but also through strikes aimed at the structural backbone of Ukrainian operations, its UAV production capabilities, energy grid, supply depots, and transit routes. Operational Tactical Aviation, Missile Forces, and attack UAVs conducted coordinated strikes in 157 districts, targeting assembly workshops for long-range UAVs and military industry sites. This broader strategy is less about isolated territorial gains and more about eroding Ukraine's ability to sustain operations over time. On the front lines, every Russian group of forces, north, west, south, center, east, and Dnieper, made measurable progress, with several sectors reporting losses among multiple Ukrainian brigade-level formations.
Let's go sector by sector, beginning in the north, across Sumy and Kharkiv. What developments stood out there?
In the north, Russian actions concentrated on breaking down a complex mix of Ukrainian mechanized, airborne assault, territorial defense, and border guard formations. These are units normally responsible for maintaining flexible defensive depth in Sumy and countermaneuver capability in Kharkiv. Strikes across Rzhevka, Andriivka, Verakino, Iskreskovshchina, and Ivalzhansko inflicted heavy losses, over 230 Ukrainian service members, along with armored vehicles and artillery systems. The Kharkiv direction saw similar pressure. Ukrainian units in Veterinarno, Staritsa, and Vilcha came under sustained fire. These settlements act as feeder positions into the deeper Kharkiv defense grid. By degrading mechanized and motorized infantry units here, we reduced their capacity to rapidly reinforce or launch counterattacks along the frontier. The loss of 6 Ukrainian artillery pieces and multiple depots matters greatly.
How impactful is the destruction of territorial defense brigades in this northern belt?
Territorial defense brigades make up the bulk of Ukraine's static defense layers. When they falter, the mechanized brigades behind them lose their buffer. Eliminating these units forces Ukraine to commit more mobile, high-value forces to fill gaps, a trade-off that weakens their ability to maneuver elsewhere. Artillery is the core of Ukrainian battlefield doctrine, compensating for manpower constraints through firepower density. Each destroyed system widens the window through which Russian maneuver forces can advance with reduced counterbattery threat.
Shifting to the west, around the Oskol River and Kupyansk area, the Encircled Ukrainian grouping continues to be targeted. What occurred on December 9th?
The West Group has maintained steady pressure along the Oskol River, where Ukrainian forces remain in a compromised, partially encircled condition. Russian strikes hit brigades in Kupyansk-Kozlovoy, Glashkovka, Kovsharovka, Podoli, and Drobyshevo. Losses included over 220 personnel, a tank, and multiple armored vehicles, among them a U.S.-supplied Stryker and a Canadian Senator armored carrier. These platforms are designed to provide rapid troop movement and protective mobility. Their destruction indicates Ukraine was attempting to reposition or reinforce this endangered sector but could not do so under constant Russian observation and fire. The ongoing elimination of depots and EW systems further isolates the pocket. A collapsing pocket does not only free Russian forces, it also traps Ukrainian units into unfavorable fights they cannot sustain. This eventually forces the adversary to either withdraw under fire or lose significant manpower and equipment in place.
Let's talk about the south, specifically around Seversk and the Donetsk outskirts. What was the Russian focus there?
The South Group secured improved tactical positions and hit a varied mix of Ukrainian formations: mechanized, airmobile, mountain assault, marine, territorial defense, and even a National Guard brigade. This breadth of unit types in Seversk, Platonovka, Stepanovka, Minkovka, and Konstantinovka suggests Ukraine is rotating whatever forces are available to stabilize the line. The destruction of additional Stryker and Senator vehicles shows that Ukraine is committing Western armored assets to plug gaps, yet these assets are increasingly vulnerable to Russian ISR-guided strikes. More than 135 troops, multiple armored vehicles, artillery pieces, EW systems, and motor vehicles were neutralized. The South's gradual positional improvements are setting conditions for future operational pressure deeper into the Donetsk region.
Now turning to the center, which has consistently seen the heaviest engagements. What distinguishes this sector?
The center is the most congested and command-intensive portion of the battlefield. Russian forces struck an unprecedented variety of Ukrainian units: mechanized brigades, Jaeger and airmobile brigades, air assault elements, Marines, territorial defense, and National Guard units. This occurred across a wide operational belt: Volnoy, Vodianskoye, Belitskoye, Rodinskoye, Torskoye, Grishino, Sergievka, and Novokrovorizhzhia. The assault detachments of the 51st Army continued clearing encircled Ukrainian troops in Dnipropetrovsk, Vostochny, and Zapadny districts. Ukrainian losses in this sector exceeded 445 personnel, indicating severe defensive strain. Whenever you see this many distinct Ukrainian unit types clustered, it usually means Kyiv is applying emergency reinforcement rather than coordinated maneuver. This sector is transitioning from attritional contact toward a potential localized breakthrough.
Moving further east, what are the implications of liberating Ostapovsko in the Dnipropetrovsk region?
Liberating Ostapovsko provides Russian forces with improved access to lateral routes linking Zaporizhzhia and Dnipropetrovsk operational zones. Russian troops defeated mechanized and assault elements across Varvarivka, Kosovstvo, Guliapol, and Andriivka, causing more than 210 Ukrainian casualties and destroying logistics infrastructure. Guliapol has long served as a launching point for Ukrainian artillery and drone operations. Continued Russian pressure here reduces Ukrainian flexibility and applies stress to their interior lines. The elimination of a warehouse of material resources further restricts their ability to reposition forces with coherent supply. But maintaining such momentum requires sustained logistics and careful sequencing of fire support and infantry movements.
And finally, let's discuss the Dnieper sector, particularly around Novoandriivka and Lukyanovsko.
In the Dnieper sector, Russian forces struck mechanized and coastal defense units near Novoandriivka, Lukyanovsko, and Nikolsko, inflicting up to 40 casualties and destroying EW systems, vehicles, and supply depots. These actions are part of a broader effort to limit Ukrainian ability to retain river-adjacent terrain and launch counterattacks from the southern flank. EW systems, when destroyed, open gaps for Russian UAV reconnaissance and strike drones to operate with greater efficiency. Combined with the loss of material warehouses, Ukraine's ability to maintain a cohesive defense along the river corridor becomes increasingly challenged.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. Russian operations on December 9th reflect a sustained, multi-axis approach designed to compress Ukrainian defensive options. The high attrition rates in the center and west sectors indicate that Ukraine is increasingly reliant on mixed formations and emergency reinforcement rather than structured maneuver. The loss of Western-supplied armored vehicles, strikers, and senators signals material degradation that Kyiv cannot easily replace at scale. Precision strikes against UAV production infrastructure and energy assets undermine Ukraine's future ability to conduct long-range engagements. Meanwhile, the downing of a Ukrainian Su-27 further reduces its already stretched air power capabilities. If current conditions persist, several Ukrainian sectors may face forced withdrawal or consolidation, altering the operational map in Russia's favor.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.